Hello students and welcome to the history class of Standard 7. Today in this video we are going to start chapter 9, the Maratha War of Independence, part 1. After the death of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, the Marathas fought with great valor with the Mughals under the leadership of Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj, Chhatrapati Rajaram Maharaj and Maharani Tarabai to protect the Swaraj. This long war that lasted for 27 years is called the Maratha War of Independence. In 1682, Emperor Aurangzeb himself led the invasion of South. Even then, despite enormous difficulties, the Marathas emerged victorious in this struggle. This war is an exciting and glorious period in the history of India. In this chapter, we shall learn about this War of Independence. Let us first learn about Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj. Sambhaji Maharaj was the eldest son of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. He was born on 14th May 1657 on the Purandar fort. After Shivaji Maharaj, he became the Chhatrapati. At this time, the Marathas were battling against the Mughals. During the same period, Emperor Aurangzeb's son, Shahzada Akbar, rebelled against his father. The emperor crushed his rebellion. Then Akbar came to the Deccan to take shelter with Sambhaji Maharaj. Then the emperor himself descended on the south in 1682 to vanquish Akbar. He had with him a huge army and a powerful artillery. He asked the Siddhi of Janjira to undertake an expedition against the Marathas. He also won over the Portuguese to his side. Consequently, Sambhaji Maharaj had to face many adversaries at one and the same time. The reign of Sambhaji Maharaj marks the first chapter of the Maratha War of Independence after Shivaji Maharaj. Shivaji Maharaj had given him excellent education in civil administration and military campaigns. Sambhaji Maharaj had begun to take interest in the administration of the state and the command of the army from the age of 14 years. While he was still a prince, he had led attacks on many territories of the Mughals and the Adil Shah. Then French traveller Abbé Carré says about his battle skills. Even though the prince is young, he is courageous and brave like his father. When Sambhaji Maharaj became Chhatrapati, the war with the Mughals became fiercer. Aurangzeb wanted to occupy regions from Kabul to Kanyakumari and create a grand unified Mughal empire. His dream was to destroy the Maratha state completely using his military and financial prowess. But Sambhaji Maharaj shattered his dreams with his bravery and military skills. Troops of the Maratha army attacked many of the Mughal territories. Though the emperor's generals tried very hard for a long time, they couldn't win the Maratha fort of Ramsej near Nasik. Thus, Sambhaji Maharaj's valor brought Aurangzeb to his knees. Once he removed his turban in frustration and threw it on the floor. He made a vow that until he had vanquished Sambhaji, he would not wear his turban. Sambhaji Maharaj had rendered Aurangzeb helpless to this extent. Aurangzeb thought that once the Maratha forts were captured, their rule too would come to an end. So he put a siege around Ramsej fort near Nashik. Aurangzeb's army was huge, the Maratha army was small, but they fought with perseverance. The siege continued for the next 5 years. This bravery of a handful Maratha soldiers was unparalleled. This resistance offered by the Marathas made Aurangzeb realize the difficulty of fighting with them. Campaign against the Siddhi. The Siddhi of Janjira used to harass the people in the Maratha territory. He used to raid, burn, and loot the Maratha territory and commit atrocities. Atrocities are all the types of crimes that he would commit against the poor, the women especially, and the children also. Okay, so Siddhi of Janjira had literally created so much of havoc, and he had harassed the Maratha people so much that something had to be done. Sabhasada has described him as a rat in the house. We know whenever there is a rat in the house, it becomes very difficult to find it, but the rat, it tries to destroy everything, the food grains or whatever clothes are kept, or it tries to bite the house from within. So Siddhi of Janjira was also that type of rat. Sambhaji Maharaj started a campaign against him in 1682 CE. His army laid a siege to Siddhi's Dandarajpuri fort and battered the fort of Janjira with the artillery. But at the same time, the Mughal army invaded Swaraj. Okay, Sambhaji Maharaj was against the actions of Siddhi of Janjira, and for that purpose, he laid a campaign outside his fort. But just when he was about to conquer, or just when he was about to win this battle, he got a news that Swaraj was invaded by the Mughals. And because of this, Sambhaji Maharaj had to abandon the Janjira campaign and turn back. Okay, so this was an unsuccessful battle which was not completed. Okay, but this shows that Sambhaji Maharaj, he also cared for his people just like Shivaji Maharaj, and whenever the people were in trouble or in difficulty, he ran to help him or help the people. Campaign against the Portuguese. The Portuguese of Goa joined hands with the emperor against Sambhaji Maharaj because they also thought that Sambhaji Maharaj is going to be a trouble for them. So they joined hands with Mughals in order to become more powerful. So Sambhaji Maharaj decided to teach a lesson to the Portuguese. He attacked the Revdanda fort of the Portuguese in 1683. To counter this, the Portuguese laid a siege to the Fonda fort of the Marathas on the Goa border. So when Sambhaji Maharaj tried to put a siege on the fort of the Portuguese, they also in return laid a siege to the Fonda fort of the Marathas on the Goa border. The Marathas broke through the siege and attacked Goa. In this battle, Yesajikang showed great valor. The Portuguese governor got wounded and retreated. Retreated is where he gave up on the battlefield and he turned back because he was wounded. He tried to run away. Sambhaji Maharaj followed him. The Portuguese were in deep trouble. Okay, when the ruler usually is injured and he tries to run away or tries to escape, it is obvious that the people or the other soldiers who are fighting the battle, they lose their hope, and they become worried. So the Portuguese were in deep trouble when the governor, he was retreating and Sambhaji Maharaj was actually following him. At this time, Sambhaji Maharaj got the news that the Mughals had attacked South Konkan. So this is how whenever Sambhaji Maharaj was trying to lay a siege on any fort or he was trying to defeat his enemies, the Mughals would obstruct his activities by capturing or attacking on the other part. So now, when Sambhaji Maharaj was fighting a battle in Goa, the Mughals they attacked the South Konkan. Therefore, he had to abandon the winning campaign of Goa and return to fight with the Mughals. So every time, whenever he was becoming successful, he had to actually leave that campaign half done and go to or run for the Swaraj. The end of Adil Shahi and Qutub Shahi. Aurangzeb did not succeed in his campaign against the Marathas. Therefore, he suspended that campaign. Then he turned towards the kingdoms of Adil Shah and Qutub Shah and conquered them. Adil Shah and Qutub Shah were very powerful at the time of Shivaji Maharaj and before the time of Shivaji Maharaj. By now, they had become very weak, and that is why it was very easy for the Mughals, especially Aurangzeb, to attack them and to conquer them. And because Aurangzeb was fed up of fighting with Sambhaji, because he was not able to win against the Marathas, he thought of capturing the Adil Shahi and Qutub Shahi. The wealth and army of both the kingdom was now acquired by the Mughals, and it made Aurangzeb even stronger. So this is how Aurangzeb thought that if he has to win the battle against Marathas, he had to build up his army, build up more and more of his army. So he joined hands with the Portuguese, and now he had conquered Adil Shahi and Qutub Shahi. So their army and their wealth, their weapons, their artillery, whatever was belonging to the Adil Shahi and Qutub Shahi, was now under the Mughals. And this made Aurangzeb very powerful and very strong. Then he concentrated all his might on defeating the Marathas. He attacked their territory from all sides, everywhere. So it was becoming difficult for Sambhaji also to concentrate on one part, because when he was trying to battle on one region, he would get a news that the Marathas have attacked on the other region. So this is how the uh, Mughals were planning, and they were tricking Sambhaji in such a way that they were trying to bombard from all the sides, and they were trying to put him or lay such a trap through which Sambhaji would not escape. The Maratha army general Hambirao Mohite got killed during an encounter with the Mughal army. Due to this blow, the military strength of Sambhaji Maharaj was weakened, because Hambirao Mohite was a very strong and a very experienced person, okay, or very experienced general of Swaraj. And when he got killed, ultimately the whole military strength of Sambhaji Maharaj was weakened, because they somewhere lost faith, or somewhere they became uh, less confident that if this great person can die, then even we can be killed one day. So this is how their morale started becoming weak, because they were attacked from all the sides and they could not concentrate, or this was kind of a battle situation every day. Every day they had to battle here and there, every day they had to fight for the security. So this was becoming very difficult to control the administration also. Administration of Sambhaji Maharaj. Even though Sambhaji Maharaj was busy fighting on various battlefronts, he did not ignore his administrative responsibilities. He continued the prompt justice and revenue system, which was a characteristic of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj's era. We know how Shivaji Maharaj was very quick about taking decision. He was equally treating everybody. So in his kingdom there was justice always prevailing. And same happened in Sambhaji's time also, that Sambhaji Maharaj would give quick justice to the people who were in need. And for the revenue system also, he did not impose heavy tax on his people, but rather it was dependent on the situation. Okay, if the uh, environment was favorable, if there were good crops, then the revenue would be more. If there is less crop, the revenue would be less. So these all legacy which was there in Shivaji's legacy was followed by Sambhaji Maharaj, and he did not ignore his duties as an administrator, okay, or as a ruler, though he was busy battling also. He severely punished the landlords who harassed common people and who rebelled against the Swaraj. Rebelled against the Swaraj is who would do. the kind of Gaddari we say, or who would go against this Swaraj, him Sambhaji Maharaj punished severely. He gave administrative powers to Maharani Yesubai. He gave her her own stamp. He continued the legacy of Shivaji Maharaj's welfare policy. So this is how he also gave power to a lady at those time. If a lady had to rule, it was not easily accepted by the people. But Sambhaji Maharaj, we know that Shivaji Maharaj was also of very modern thinking. So Sambhaji Maharaj, who was his son, was definitely going to learn something from his father, and he also gave the administrative powers to Maharani Yesubai and made her own stamp that even when he was not there in the kingdom, he was not available, and she had to take up any decision, then she should have that stamp also. No, otherwise people will not follow it. So he gave her those powers and her those rights. He continued the legacy of Shivaji Maharaj's welfare policy. Whatever good things Shivaji Maharaj did, Sambhaji Maharaj also followed them. Sambhaji Maharaj knew Sanskrit and many other languages well. He studied many ancient books on polity and wrote their gist in a book called Buddhbhushanam. Okay, he has written many things in Buddhbhushanam. His father's coronation, Shivaji's coronation, was also described well by Sambhaji Maharaj in his book Buddhbhushanam. Sambhaji Maharaj composed Buddhbhushanam in the Sanskrit language. The second chapter of this book discusses polity. Polity is about politics. It includes information about the virtues of a king, prime minister, princes, and their education and functions, the advisors to the king, forts, and the goods and materials needed on a fort, the army, the duties of a king, espionage, etc. So these are all the things related to the kingdom, the values of a king, how a king should be, and everything that is required in a fort. So when we read it, we get a clear image of those times, and maybe because of the writings of Sambhaji Maharaj also, we've got a lot of information about him and his father. Death of Sambhaji Maharaj. Aurangzeb was trying very hard to defeat Sambhaji Maharaj. He had placed Mukarrab Khan in charge of the Kolhapur province. Mukarrab Khan learned that Sambhaji Maharaj was at Sangameshwar in Konkan. He raided the place and captured Sambhaji Maharaj. When Sambhaji Maharaj was taken to the emperor, he faced him fearlessly. By the emperor's orders, he was brutally put to death on 14th March 1689. When we say brutally put to death, it means in a very severe manner. He was killed in a very uh, bad way. His nails were pulled out, and one by one they chopped every part of his body. He was kept into prison for several days, and he was forced to bear all the pain because Aurangzeb was really irritated of Sambhaji Maharaj, and he wanted to destroy him, he wanted to kill him, because for so many years Aurangzeb was trying to capture Maharashtra or capture Swaraj, and he was trying to capture all the territories of Swaraj after Shivaji Maharaj. But Sambhaji Maharaj never allowed him to do so. He always gave a tough fight to, or tough rebellion to every activity of the Mughals. And so this was a time when Aurangzeb he sent Mukarrab Khan to Kolhapur province, because Mukarrab Khan was a very strong person, and when he found that Sambhaji Maharaj was at Sangameshwar, he raided that place. And maybe at that time, Sambhaji Maharaj was alone. He was not with all of his associates, and so he easily got uh, captured or easily got taken. But then, when he was taken to the emperor, also he faced the emperor fearlessly. Sambhaji Maharaj knew what was going to happen to him, or maybe he would never return back to his house or his family or to his Swaraj. He was aware of the situation, but still he did not show any kind of fear, and he was put to death on 11th of March 1689. This Maratha Chhatrapati did not compromise his self respect and faced his death nobly and bravely. Though he was beaten every day, he never surrendered or never gave up. Okay, for his pride uh, and for the pride of the Swaraj, he faced everything without fear. He faced his death nobly and bravely. The Marathas took inspiration from his sacrifice and intensified their fight against the Mughals. The Mughals thought that looking at his death, at least now the Marathas will give up. But no, this made the Marathas even more angry and even more desperate to protect their Swaraj from the Mughal powers. And that's why this struggle or this fight against the Mughals was even more intensified by the Marathas after the death of Sambhaji Maharaj. The remaining half of the lesson will be continued in the next module. See you then.